Yeah, I'm a writer, director, producer, and actor. My background is quite similar to Stephan's, where I trained as an actor for 4 years, classically trained, went from drama school straight to theatre. I was doing the Globe Theatre, I was doing quite a bit of Shakespeare, touring around the country, doing fringe, just doing all sorts of acting. And I guess my first experience with film per se was that I started writing plays. So I was writing plays, I was putting them on in theatre pubs, I was putting them on in churches, I was putting them on in studios. And then I just decided I had a love of film, a filmmaker called Alan Clark, who, he does these kind of, I don't like the term like social realist films, but they were very social films focusing on certain issues such as, hooligans or, community and these, anti-heroes. So I wrote a film called Hooligan I funded that myself, and it did fairly well. We got into the short corner in Cannes, and then from there I just developed a community. I went over to Cannes, developed a community with filmmakers, watched tons of films, read loads of books about films, and then I made one short film. And then I was going to make another short film, but that short film ended up being a feature. And I don't know how that came about, but it just kind of, I just said, by any means necessary, like Tomisin was saying, I just said, look, no one was reaching out for funding. So I was like, look, I'm just going to make my project. I'm going to do it. I was working 4 jobs. I was teaching, I was acting, I was an usher, theatre usher, cinema usher. And I just said, I'm going to make my film. So I made a film called Sweet Boy, which was back in 2013. It's crazy. I was like the lead actor in it, the director. I wasn't the writer, I was the producer. And I had no idea what I was doing. Like, zero idea. I wouldn't say I was winging it, but what I did have was a passion, a work ethic, a drive. And I said, we had a story which was kind of inspired by, it's this female revenge story, but it was also about a man seeking redemption for cheating on his wife and, falling and just being, someone who made these mistakes. So it's this kind of redemptive anti-hero. And the film ended up, everything that could go wrong went wrong doing this film, from equipment breaking and insurance running out to it snowing to keys being dropped down the toilet and flushed. But we got the film made. We got it made. And yeah, that kind of set me on my path. But with regard to filmmaking, I see myself as a student always. I love watching, like, everyone in this chat. I've watched all your projects, a majority of them. And I've reached out to, like with Stephan, with Deleted, I watched his projects. I loved it. Tomisin, like Nosa, like all your projects. I just love watching films. I have a passion for filmmaking, for storytelling. My focus now is on, there's a film that I shot called Spar, which focuses on boxing, because I love boxing. I've done a bit of boxing myself. And yeah, I just love themes around kind of the physicality of the body. I have a film in development called The Tutor, which focuses on a ballet dancer who goes back to doing home tutoring. And she has to make a choice of whether she's going to tutor this boy or she's going to continue her passion of ballet dancing. And that's been in development for about 3 years now. But I'm at the stage where my second film was a feature film. So I want to go back and make at least 4 short films before. If someone came up to me with the money and said, look, go and make The Tutor, I would make it. But I see myself as a student. I just want to keep refining my craft. I want to finish the Spar trilogy, do some other shorts, then go back and make my feature. Because even though I've had quite a bit of success so far, I just love learning. I really love it. I find it addictive. I find filmmakers, I find actors. I love working with actors, being an actor myself. I love the whole community of creativity. So that's me in a nutshell.
Looking sharp there still.
Thanks.
Oh. I'm Anthony, by the way. I see you in the mitts earlier.
Fancy sparring later? Why not? Because I'm a girl.
No, it's... I don't know.
I'll ask Barry then.
What? You know what, I'm gonna catch you around, yeah?
And it's the question I was going to ask you a bit later on, but I think I'll probably just jump into it now. So, you mentioned the fact that one of your earliest films was a feature, and you're currently developing your second feature. So I just wanted to find out about some of the experiences, the lessons that you learned making your first feature, and how you're going to take that forward when trying to develop the second feature.
I think the planning has to be meticulous. I think you have to prepare. Like, I'm someone that I love inspiration, love positive people, but you have to prepare for the worst. You have to envision every ideal scenario that might actually go wrong, because that's what happened with Sweet Boy. There's a story which I tell all the time, that we were filming in North Devon, which is a 4-hour drive from London. And one of the actors, bless him, Joseph, he agreed to drive the 4 hours to Devon from London. So we rented out the car, an 8 people carrier, and we stopped off 2 hours away from London, and it was going well. Because you have to make sure that your actors believe in you as a filmmaker, another thing. But I had the team on my side, and everything was going well after quite a shaky start. And then, I bought everyone coffees, it's developing a rapport, developing a community. And then Joseph goes to the toilet, and he comes running out of this toilet with his hands wet, and everyone's looking at him. It's like a big shopping centre, a petrol station, the drop-off. Everyone's looking at him, his hands is wet. It's like, I've dropped the keys. It's like, what are you on about? It's like, yeah, I dropped the keys down the toilet, and I flushed it. So he had dropped the keys down the toilet for the car that we were going to drive to North Devon to film. So we had lost pretty much a day of filming. We had no keys to get to Devon. So I was self-funding this film myself. It was lost about £1,000 because someone had to drive out from London to collect the keys. And at that stage, I wanted to give up. So I think the team, I had the self-belief, but the team also got me through it. They were like, no, we're going to continue, don't worry. I was still learning, like I said, a student. So I'd say preparation, prepare for the worst, but also, it's a team effort. It's a collective. You can't always do everything yourself. Filmmaking is a collaboration, whether it's your DOP, your sound guy, your mixer, your editor, your actors. So I'd say take those approaches when you're doing your second feature, but also just the script. Just be meticulous with the script. Have that preparation and have that passion, but also be hard on yourself. Be hard on yourself. I got my brother, he's a filmmaker, John, and he's one of my inspirations because he's just a perfectionist. He does documentary filmmaking. He's got a film called Trim. It's on Vimeo. Brilliant film. He's just so meticulous. He'll make a film he's doing the whole P.T. Anderson thing where he'll make a film every 4 years. But he's very meticulous with his craft. And that's one thing I've learned. I'm not in a rush to make my second feature film because I know that I want to do the steps with other short films, and I know that there's a lot more work to be done. But I think preparation is king and preparation is queen as well.
She's cute, man. You got a fight coming up. She is, though. She looks like the girl from yesterday, innit? It is the girl from yesterday. She was with the group. She was with the group. With the tall brown skin girl.
Yeah, with the virgin. Yeah.
I think it is. It is, man.
Yeah.
What's she doing here, though? Come on.
Why is she here? She does, yeah. She does.
It's nice.
She's probably knocking out.
All right, boys, listen up. This is Isabel. She's with us for the day. If she needs any assistance, no questions asked, just do it. All right? Okay, carry on.
So with regard to that, I told Jed, who was the cinematographer, I gave him my mood board, which was a compilation of different boxing films. But I said, look, watch this, get inspiration, and then forget it. Like, take that inspiration and then build your own vision of that. This is just your energy. But in terms of it, I see Spar as, it's almost like it's my tribute to boxing, and it's everyone who was on set had to do the work ethic. And like, if you watch boxers work, I don't know who's familiar with boxing, but this is one of the hardest sports ever. Like, I've done boxing in front of 500 people for real, white collar, and it's the training that goes into it. You have to diet, you have to make sacrifices. No alcohol, no this, no that. All it is it's you in a ring, and you've got your trainer, and you've got your craft, and you've got to work at it 24/7. And in terms of the movement, I said, think of it less of a sport and think of it more like a dance. Like, there's a lot of a dance motion with boxing, and that's why they call it the sweet science. It's almost like a ballet. It's poetic. I think there's a misconception that it's a sport of brutality. I think it's a sport of beauty, and that's what I really wanted to come through with Spar. And I said that if you watch the film, there's a montage that we have in it, and they're training and they're doing the mitts and the pads and the press ups, and this was for real. There was no, I said to Jordan, Nicola, Andre, all of them, I said, do the work. Like, they were getting exhausted on set, but I said, look, this is what boxers do. Like, we can't shortcut it. So, but I told them, think of it as a dance. Like, boxing is beauty, it's poetry. So when we were shooting it, I told Jed, who's a cinematographer, brilliant cinematographer, I said, really, really capture it in that sense. And just think about the levels. What are we trying to say when we're filming from below? What's that saying in terms of status, in terms of, hierarchy, etc. What are we trying to say? So in terms of the kind of movement, I see it. I love dance films. I love dance. I was watching, it's Pina Bausch. I don't know if I'm saying her name correctly, but I was watching one of her dance films the other day. And I just love it. I love ballet. I love all of it. And I think that there is a connection with that and sport. And that's what I told my crew, my actors, to go around that way. Think of it less of sport and less of what's on the TV, and less of these other films, which are great films. The Creed franchise, the Rocky franchise, they're all great. But let's try and do our own thing with it. So, yeah.
This is a conversation really to inspire Black British creatives. So what I'd love you each to do is to just give me one succinct piece of advice you would offer to a creative who is trying to get their work or their project off the ground. So, Anthony, if I could start with you, and then we'll just work our way around.
Okay, so I'd say, speaking to an actor about this, and I think you can put it in the same context as film. He said that you don't have to be on the job to act. You don't have to be on the job to act. So I think that applies to filmmaking. You don't have to be necessarily, quote unquote, making a film, making a project. You can collaborate with your friends. You can collaborate with your family. You don't have to have the DSLR or the Red or the Arri. You can use your phone. You could use your laptop. So you don't necessarily have to be on a job to make films. And like Stephan was saying, passion. You have to have that passion, regardless. It does get hard, School of Robert Rodriguez, Rebel Without a Crew. I funded a majority of the slate of my production company, and I just think the vision and the passion has outweighed anything. It's all part of the struggle. If you believe in what you're doing, then it should be fun. It's gonna get tough, but just have passion, have faith, you know, and be grateful. I'm very grateful, very, very grateful for everything, for the good and bad. And there has been bad. There's also been good, and I'm just grateful. So I'd say, you know, DIY and, you know, passion and purpose.
Fantastic advice. So I'd just like to say thank you so much for being a part of Who We Are. I think you guys are on, you know, you are destined for greatness, all of you. I love all of your work, and we love it here at We Are Parable. So thank you so much for being a part of it. And nothing else for me to say then thank you to Anthony Vander, Nosa Eke, Tomisin Adepeju, and Stephan Pierre Mitchell. Thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, thank you
so much.
Thank you
so much, man. Thank you.
Thank you. It's so nice to see all the creative come together and say hi. People I haven't met, but today I've met, and we're going to see more work. So, yeah. Thank you.